What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JG's Lounge with another episode of Stardom. Hey, guys, everything's been going great with me and the show. All of my social medias are growing, and it's all thanks to you guys. I see big things in the future for the show, and hopefully my following grows and I get more exposure and I can get more you guys on. So thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. I do have a great guest with me this evening, somebody that I've worked with for quite some time now. Lewis Haven, how you doing?
Doing well tonight, Dylan. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been off today.
No, sorry, you're just Ginger. My bad.
It doesn't matter.
I slipped, man.
You can
I
say my
broke
first
character.
name.
I totally broke character there. It's the first
dude,
one.
I can't believe it. We're gonna have to end the show now.
Yep. Just go ahead and axe me. Banned for life.
So I'm glad because we've talked about you coming on over the last year or so.
Many times.
So I'm glad that we get to do this. Before we get too much into the topic, I want everybody to kind of get to know my guests. So tell everybody a little about who you are.
I'm Lewis, evidently, or so says the screen there. I work with your fine host at our standard day job. Wonderful retail experience. I don't know how forward you are about all of that, but
I have mentioned it in shows.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you specifically specifically mention names? Okay, cool.
No, I mean most of my followers do know that I work at Costco.
Oh God, there it is. You said it.
There's that, but I don't talk about experiences with Costco, if that makes sense.
Right. I just want to make sure there's no legal ramifications. If there's some kind of do we have to notate that or anything?
No.
Good.
Because we're not going to talk about it anymore the rest of this episode.
No,
anyways.
that's it. So anyways, we work together. I like to talk. I enjoy the sound of my own voice, and therefore I must be a good fit for this evening's show. So
yeah, man, you said you used to DJ.
I did. I DJ'd for a while, and then I haven't really done anything entertainment based in probably a good decade. So there's definitely some cobwebs that'll be experienced for all this evening. So
it's perfect, dude. Spirit Medium Daniel says you're very open to who you are, and it's what makes you genuine. So
wonderful. Excellent.
He's a great guy, but his next message could be completely opposite, and he could call me. He's came on here and said something about me being at a gay bar or something like
that. You were just doing it for the drinks, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No worries. All
right,
cool.
So,
anyways, you wanted me to mention that I'm afraid of social media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of social media.
That's what
we're
yeah. Oh wait, he said he's talking about me, not you. Well, wait, see.
Okay. So in other words, so I'm to assume I am not a great guy, and the nice beard comment was probably not directed to me either.
Actually, yours is more impressive than mine. Mine's getting there.
Thank you. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, but so for tonight's episode and the topic, it actually, the reason I did pick it took me a while, is because we have talked about how you don't like social media.
I'm fearful of the cost of being on a social network, just because I know that a lot of companies track a good amount of what you do. That's why you have so much targeted advertisement and things like that. So because the big one for me that I haven't done is Facebook Messenger. I went through a list of all of the permissions they get when you download the app, and thus far I've been concerned about it. So I use the workaround and log in through the browser on my phone, which I'm sure still gives them all the same level of access, but I get to feel like there's more control in my hands. So yeah.
And it's funny because it's so true that nobody reads the permissions when I say that pretty heavily, but there are some that do, like you, but I know for a fact, like Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, all of your big name hits, there's actually stuff in there when you agree to it, so they can access literally anything on your phone,
right?
Past accounts that you've had on the internet, and you give them permission to that.
Yeah. I've read it before. Turn on your mic, find your location, turn on your camera. Pretty much you're just allowing complete anonymity to come in and oversee everything that you're doing. So yeah, I don't think that's worth it for the messaging application. I could just use like messages.
I mean, it's true, but I feel like that's if you're running from something, that can make sense. But if you have nothing to hide, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my look at it. I mean, I'm not posting anything too offensive, so
yeah, no, I get that. I get that perspective on it. I see it almost just the financial aspect. You know, the amount of there's literally trillions of dollars worth of data that we all create on an annual basis, and companies are able to utilize that for massive amounts of financial gain, and we get laggy apps and some occasionally really cool like emojis. So it just seems like the exchange might be a little bit weighted in their favor. So because of it, I try and keep as much of that, information to myself, unless there's some kind of benefit for me to share it with the company that's going to utilize it and really, make money hand over fist because of that knowledge, that data.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's I don't think about it. I just know, like,
eat, man.
when
they're
you
watching what I eat.
You're sitting there taking a crap, and it's just
on
your phone, checking the internet, and so's watching you, man.
Yeah, the poop face. I'm sure someone in a terminal is logged in, watching me watch cat videos while I'm trying to get the last of my meal.
It's so funny. My wife goes, "Why are you in there so long when you poop?" Like, well, usually my legs go numb because I'm leaning over on my phone. So
solitude. It's solitude. It's for the solitude.
If I don't have my phone, I'm in and out within 3 minutes. But if I have it, 15 minutes later.
And if not, everyone jokes about it, but it's reading soap bottles and the back of the back of the.
It's funny that you said that. It's funny that you said that because I literally had this one right here. Let me show you this.
Mm-hmm. Let's see this. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I've never really been curious about what Cocamide is until I was locked in the bathroom and I left my phone out on the couch.
Man, if we just didn't have electronics, just think about the knowledge, the real knowledge we would have.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Seriously though, sodium lauryl sulfate. I've never been curious, but now I want to know what that is, and I've been rubbing on my head all these years.
And it's so funny because hey, Toby's jumped on. How's it going, man? From the tire shop.
What's up, Toby? Hello, Toby. I know, Toby. By the way, I did read through our comments here, and just quoting. That was for my beard. Just.
This one right here.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
right there.
You can hihighlight those.
Wow. I got so much. Yeah, I mean, I pay for this program, man. I get to do all sorts of stuff.
Hold right now.
Yes. So I remember before because I got my first phone. I think I was probably in second or third grade, and it was a brick Nokia.
Yep.
Like the old school brick Nokias.
Monochrome, no color.
Mm-hmm. And that thing, it's funny because people talk about not having signal. I don't think I ever lost signal with one of those.
Oh no, I lived in Manhattan, Kansas at the time, home of the K-State Wildcats, and the area that we lived in was still it was technically a suburb, but it was on the edge of the coverage zone in what would that have been 99 or 2000 when I got my first phone, and I could only take and receive calls in one room. It had to be upstairs. I had to be facing the wall, like literally facing complete blank wall, not even a window. That's the only place that I would have signal. So I'd leave the phone sitting up in that room all the time. And that way, if I had someone call, I'd hoof it up there and I'd grab the phone. And if I was lucky, I'd get it in time. Because most of the time I could catch an incoming call, but I couldn't make an outgoing call. Not enough signal. I guess it takes more power, more strength maybe to push your call back out there.
That's funny.
It was terrible. It's terrible. I had an Austin Powers ringtone and K Sports. That was cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay, so while we're on the subject of old phones, I remember only being able to get so many texts per month. There was like a prepaid limit. And I know they still do this, so people do know it exists. But back in the day, that's all you could do.
It does exist still, though.
Yes.
I didn't even know that existed anymore.
Yeah, if
I've
you have
had
like Metro
unlimited.
PCS or Boost and stuff,
Oh
they
yeah,
have plans like that where you pay.
prepaid
Yeah.
phones. Okay, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that was a thing. I thought it was just automatic that you got unlimited text messaging. I've taken it for granted.
No matter how much a phone costs, we all lose signal. It's
Yep.
true, man. No matter where you go.
Very accurate.
It's before that, I remember having a landline that the power line literally cut over our house, so we were constantly picking up other people's lines and stuff, and it was the most annoying thing ever because my mom, I remember, was dating a guy,
right,
and it was like a long distance phone call too, so like she'd constantly be bitching because somebody be cutting in on our conversation and she had to pay for this long distance call. And that was back when AOL dial up was a thing too. So you couldn't have the internet and a phone conversation at the same time. It wasn't possible.
No, I remember that. I remember I've got homework due. Nobody pick up the phone. I'm going to be on Encarta for the next 2 hours. Okay. Half through downloading the 1944 war history, and somebody picks up the landline, and there you go. It's done. Project. Great. Now I'm gonna be up till 2 a.m. Thanks, guys.
I did find this stat, and of course, it's from the internet, so who knows how accurate this is. But it does say that Americans spend 2 hours and 54 minutes on average on their phone. I think
that's conservative.
You think that's accurate?
I think it's a conservative estimate.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What do you think the accurate answer would be? A lot more than that?
Man, I feel like it's probably 4, maybe 5 hours a day.
You're probably right.
If you add all the times up where you look down for 10 minutes, do the scroll through Facebook, right, check 3 or 4 emails. Oh yeah, I bet you it adds up. Maybe it might only be 4. But I don't know, under 3 seems really conservative.
That's true. Yeah, and I do everything besides this aspect of my show. Everything's on my phone. I distribute it. I promote it. I do everything on my phone because I have it on me all the time, and I can do it from wherever.
Convenience, of course.
Oh yeah, so it's got its pros and cons. I mean,
yeah, true.
But I do think that they control the world right now, man. It's 100%. And then it hears your conversations, picks up what you're interested in, and throws it on your ads whenever you are on your phone.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, shit, and even smart TVs too, man. Now even the TVs are smart.
Yeah, everything's recording and then compiling, and then there's an algorithm that basically tells every program you're using what ad to slot in there because it's obviously something you've been interested in recently.
Or you're just discussing it or whatever, you know.
They'll even there's a Google program called Rewards. Have you heard of that one? Google Rewards.
Nope.
If you're a Android phone user, Google has a program where they pay you in pretty much pocket change. I think the most I've made is like 58 cents, and they ask you about your online activity. So like you'll go into a store, and then 45 minutes later, pop up, hey, you've got a new rewards survey available. You click OK, do the survey, and it wants to know, lists like 5 or 6 stores. Have you been to one of these? Obviously, the one you just went to is on that list. Click that. How did you pay? You tell it how you paid, and then if you're interested, they'll take a photo of your receipt. You'll take a picture of your receipt, send it to them, and then you get 50, 60 cents for that activity. The more you do that, then they start doing other things. Like I got one the other day that was asking about a web search. Did you do this web search? Does this search result page look familiar? So they're doing everything to gather that information, and then that way they can target every little piece of media so that it's it almost like it orchestrates your movements.
It's the same thing with Facebook. Like you go on there and it asks you want to know your horoscope or what's your favorite colors, who's your favorite actors, and then like it'll ask you like 5 or 6 questions. So you're just giving the internet your information, and you don't know you're doing it. I know my mother-in-law is terrible at it. She'll click on every freaking ad, everything, and then like she'll end up with spam, like and
Uh-huh.
like text and stuff on her phone, and then she'll
Yeah.
call us and ask us what's going on.
Yeah. Have you done that survey? Yeah, I did it the other day. It asked the school that I went to for elementary. And then for some reason, it wanted to know what my grandma's last name was. Weird, right? And then it said the last four of my social security, but I got a coupon for a 32-ounce drink at Quick Trip. So it's worth it, I think.
Oh, by the way, have you played this new game I just downloaded?
Yeah.
It's got ads every 30 seconds too.
I found out the other day, if I was a potato, it would be russet. Just throwing that out there.
I would hope. I hope that I'm a gold potato. Those are my favorites.
I'm sure.
All right, so I found this meme right here. I thought this is pretty interesting. It says caution children playing, and it's literally just kids. I mean, this is pretty accurate.
Horrifyingly accurate. I think horrifyingly accurate.
When I was that age, I mean, that playground was going nuts. I remember kids like cutting their eyes, their faces open, playing in like the rocks or the mulch, whatever. Yeah. Even the sand back then was like big chunks of sand that were in the playground.
Oh yeah. That was. I used to at 10 years old. I'd go on bike rides for hours and go through the city. And granted, it was it's a smaller town, but still, nowadays, I mean, imagining my kids out of my sight for more than 5 minutes is it's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Different world, man. Totally different world.
It is. My 11-year-old, that's all he wants. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, man? So, and for me, when I see that, it really upsets me because I know that's where just the way that this world's going. My 11-year-old, as soon as he got a tablet, that's all he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then he got his phone. He got TikTok, and he's not even 13. Of course, TikTok figured out pretty quick. They removed him, so he can't get on there anymore, which is fine. Thank God. For right now.
Yeah, that's good. There's at least some of those, restrictions in place. But
right.
I feel like that's probably, I bet you it's done more out of necessity for image or legality than it is necessarily to protect a potential client or, potential customer per se.
Yeah.
Or not even customer, but, a potential ad user or whatnot.
Well, and there's so many of them. They call them trolls now. These people just go troll all these social medias.
Yep.
And it's bad. Especially me being a podcaster on all my platforms, I'm constantly getting spam about promoting my content. If you give me this much money, I'll get you this many follows. Just stupid shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's all over every platform I use.
Yeah. It's an entire industry devoted almost specifically to telling other people about other people.
And the fact that they can find you as easy as they do. Is proof in itself.
Targeted web search. Yep.
And then your web search. As soon as you start searching something in general, it'll suggest things based off what you have searched.
Yeah. You got to be really careful with that, especially if you're using a computer that other people use as well.
Well, I think, and the biggest thing for me that sucks, because I see when I was like 12 when I saw my first porn mag, my 11-year-old was like 9.5, and we found search history on the internet, on his tablet.
Yeah.
Oh, some kid at school mentioned this site.
Yeah. So long as, that's better than them finding it through your search history. So.
This is true. This is very true.
That's weird. That video is. Oh crap! I did not even close the tab, did I?
They have private mode, man.
Oh, that's it. Incognito.
But yeah, it's just crazy because the conversation with them is different than I know it was when I was 12 when I saw it. It was like one of my stepdad's magazines that I found, and like my mom told me like months later that she knew that I had one, and I was like, why haven't you said anything? She's like, well, you ain't hurting anybody. But it's like I feel like 9's too young, but the way that social media and internet access is, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah,
everything happens faster nowadays. It's instantaneous.
And then the way kids dress it seems like the younger they are now, they're dressing even more messed up. And
Yeah, well, it's almost, there's been almost a flow to it generationally. How I don't want to say standards or anything like that because I don't want to be judgmental, but there's almost an element where what is acceptable every year has kind of become less and less restrictive. So I remember, just growing up as the oldest, the house that I grew up in, the rules and everything that I grew up in were completely different from my youngest sibling, and we were only 10 or 12 years apart. So if you look at it, like say you're comparing from 1940s and 1950s to present day, I mean, you're talking at least 3 or 4 generations where it's continually been, well, I don't want to be as restrictive as my parents. And then that goes to the next generation. I don't want to be restrictive as, my parents were. So eventually, you enter a point where it's a Wild West kind of free for all, I feel almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel, for throwing that in there. I appreciate it.
Hey, you gotta prep.
It is what it is. Right? Anthony, how's it going, man?
That's good. I like that.
So
way too serious.
No, I hate being serious, man. And my show is not meant for serious. And it happens.
It's my fault.
You're good. I don't mind serious conversation as long as you're open to the fact that I might be a little offensive every now and then. So.
Hell yeah, definitely.
But it's funny. I found this one and it really hits me because I use Venmo, and this says, yeah, if you all could just Venmo me, that'd be great. From The Office, if you've ever seen The Office.
I have, definitely.
Zoom in
Lundberg.
But I use Venmo, and that scares me because of how easy it is to transfer money.
You know what? I have not really used a whole lot of that. I remember PayPal from years ago because there was no other way to purchase something off of eBay. But I gotta say that's another one that I've just been kind of leery of. I don't add a lot of my banking information. Now, granted, I have everything on my smartphone and all the passwords are saved. So, it's almost like there's a level of it that's just me reassuring myself that I'm keeping things secure. It's, like I'm lying to myself a little bit. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's protected on my smartphone, but I'm not going to add an application that would allow me to wirelessly send funds from my smartphone.
I totally have dangerous. I have a file on my phone. Same thing. All my information for every account, just because they're all so different.
Secret passwords. Don't open.
Well, and then for what you and I do, it's like you have so many different ones. So it's
I have there's a single page on my phone that if somebody was to get that, they would have my entire identity in less than 2 minutes.
Well, now they make protective phone cases, okay?
Yeah. But I'm afraid of Facebook Messenger. See, it makes a lot of sense.
It does. A lot of sense. It is. It's contradicting, but whatever. If it makes you sleep at night.
It makes me feel comfortable, and that's what matters.
What would you say that even your phone, do you use Android or Apple?
Android. It's much more secure.
It is. Now, Google, literally, you have to attach an email. So no matter what you do on your phone, like Google somehow can save the history of it. There's like a way to go. You can search Google account or something on the internet, and it will literally break down every time you use the voice on there or anything. It has it all saved in your account. All your text messages. You can access all of it on like your Google drives.
Have you ever looked at your location history? Have you gone that and done that before?
Yes, I'm lucky enough. For some reason, my phone thinks I'm in Chicago 80% of the time.
Oh, that's nice. Mine knows where I am within about 3 meters at all times. It's helpful though. It's like, well, has it been a month and a half since I last got my hair cut? Let's find out. Google says it was exactly 5 weeks ago. So I've got another week before I've got to get it trimmed. So
Google Maps.
After that, it looks like I got a sandwich. So, okay.
Yeah. Even Google Maps tracks where you go, like you were saying, because it asks you about your experiences and stuff like that wherever you go.
Yeah.
Daniel said every time you swipe your card, you're being watched. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Yes, everything is online now. Every bit of your information is somewhere on the internet.
Yeah. We live in a digital
Thank you,
world,
Facebook user. I
essentially.
don't know who this is, but thanks.
Nice.
What were you saying about? Yes, we do live in a digital world. It's
Yeah.
insane.
There's a physical aspect, but the reality of what we live in is truly digital. I think more than anything else.
You know, even a more scary thing is Bluetooth, and the reason that Bluetooth bugs me is, people use their watches connected to their phones.
Yeah.
So there's this like Bluetooth connection that's just here. This whole area has all your information that where it's trying to connect between the phone and the watch. And if anybody gets in that area, the chance of them being able to pick up your stuff is pretty simple.
Is it really? I haven't looked into the security of Bluetooth. I didn't realize it was that.
I mean, it'll usually ask you to like accept it, like whatever the main device has to accept it. But I'm sure there's got to be easy ways to get around that if you want somebody's information.
Oh yeah, I'm certain. If you want something bad enough, there's definitely a program or a code or a hacker who can find a way to do it.
Yes,
so it's a constant game of cat and mouse where one gets ahead and then the other kind of foils them and back and forth and back and forth.
Right.
As far as security and technology and everything.
All right, here's the next one. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. This one's pretty good here. Let's see. It says before cell phones and social networks, this is how you could tell who your real friends were. And basically, it's a kid jumping over a ramp with his buddy underneath it.
Yeah.
I think zoom in. Damn
it. I think I've probably done something similar to that several times.
I know I have.
Yeah. Well, there was a period of time where I had every close friend's phone number memorized, and I guarantee they had mine as well. And now I might have two, maybe three. I know my phone number, I know my wife's phone number, and I know the number to call if I'm not going to make it to work. Other than that, I'm probably SOL unless I have my phone on me.
This is very true, Kevin. They used to have something called a phone book.
Do they even still have that? Does the phone book still exist? I know there's
a Yellow Pages website.
Yeah, but it's been like 10 years, I think, since I even looked at that. Does that even still exist? Is it there?
No. Well, didn't because I'm pretty sure businesses before social media was like that. They'd get yellow books or whatever, Yellow Pages every couple months, updated phones and everything. I don't know, man.
I'm trying to remember I don't remember the last time I had one. It may have been in the last 2 or 3 years that I had one on the doorstep.
Right.
But I don't normally that's it. You see it on the doorstep and then you put it in some nondescript location that you don't find again until you put the one from the next year there. And then for that little brief moment, that's where I put the phone book. And then it'll be another 11 months and 27 days before you find that again.
This just kind of brings up this one. It says, "Hey Homer, who are you calling?" And he says, "Everybody. I found Bernie's address book."
Address book. I haven't had one of those in a long time either.
I never had one, but I remember my mom had one, and it was basically a binder with everybody's information in it.
Yeah. Well, the schools used to produce one, and I think like churches used to produce one. Like a 3-ring binder that they'd give everybody once every couple of years with contact info. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like these are things I haven't seen in since elementary school, at least. It faded quick.
I wonder if all of those were collected and they've gone to the company that calls you about your extended auto warranty. And that's how they keep finding everybody.
There's just this Amazon warehouse numbers. Just full of old like address books from people's houses.
All right, Bill, Polk, Clay County, 1997. We're getting started on the list again.
Do you think this guy's dead yet? It's been a couple months. He's at least 100.
Yeah, but he probably still has the car.
I bet you we can get a hold of one of his grandchildren.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Dude, yeah, and at the same time, so my mom would always have the address book, and then she would have like this like a little flip card of a bunch of
Mhm.
recipes.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
tons of people that had flip cards of recipes.
Oh yeah, I think we have a 3-ring binder that my mother-in-law produces once every couple of years, and it has all the recipes. But I haven't seen the old flip card in quite a while. I know exactly what you're talking about, though. It normally had like a little box that it came in,
Yeah, I'm
and it
pretty
was
sure we still have
alphabetically
one.
organized.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
we still have one, and it's like this. It's like this long, and the top is see through, so you can see which
yes,
recipe's which.
uh-huh.
But now it's like, man, you could TikTok. Hey, man, how I'm gonna make this meal, and then you see 30,000 different videos of different ways to cook what you're looking for.
Yeah, I normally pick mine based on the rating. I'm kind of
Really?
picky. Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta have enough reviews. That's the thing. Is it's
See,
you got to have a balance of high rating with a sufficient quantity of reviews, so that way you know for sure it's not just like an anomaly. Like the recipe's been made by 3 people, and all 3 of them were really good at making a box of mac and cheese. So this was an amazing and astounding creation that they put together, and that's why it's got 5 stars. But it might be crap, and the one that's got 4.5 stars, but 800 people made it and rated it
agreed.
with 4.5 stars. That's the one you got to go with.
No, I agree, and it's funny. The reason why, okay, so if you look in the background, it says Stardom, and it has 5 of my faces.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 is meant to represent the 5-star rating.
I see. That's
My
genius.
my wife is all about ratings and reviews, no matter what it is,
Mhm.
and she will always point out the funny, outrageous ones, which is why I was like, I could totally do this and rant
Yeah,
about it, and that's how I
it's human
started.
nature.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's human nature. We want to categorize things and then rank them so that way we don't have to do the legwork to figure out what's the best later on. We can just
and the
pull up our
easiest,
booklet
like
of ranking, and
like you
that's where I'm going.
and like you literally just said, everybody and we're so good at reading. Okay, if it has 4.5 stars but has 1,200 reviews rather than a 5-star 3 review,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
totally different.
I wonder if there's a formula. You could probably devise a formula for that. Like every 50% increase in ratings is worth a quarter of a star.
Spirit Medium Daniel, that's awesome. And he just released a book. I actually have a copy upstairs.
Excellent.
And
What's it about?
it's about a walk in his life, really, and how he's a spirit medium, of course, and
Yeah,
he
yeah. I
talks
think
about how his view on things are. I'm still working on it. I've got a few pages in, but I promised him I was going to read it, so I'm going to. I just don't read
yeah.
as fast as I used to. But I'm going to actually have him on to talk about it once I read it.
I was gonna
Because,
say, I believe you. I feel like you've mentioned that. That rings a bell.
yeah, probably. I've had him on
Yeah,
many times. He's a good
that's what
guy.
I thought you talked about at one of the shows where he'd been on there.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
He's a great guy, very real, and that's why we're friends.
Yeah, excellent.
Here, this one's pretty funny right here. Let's see, how big is the image gonna be? Oh, it's perfect. Here we go. Checking movie times before the internet.
I totally remember doing that.
Yes.
I totally remember. It was movie phone. Was that FONE
Yes.
or movie line?
It was.
Remember.
I'm pretty sure it was movie phone because
Yeah,
I remember
but with an
that
F.
when you first
But with an F.
It was an automated answering machine
Yep.
too.
Yep. Yeah, and it was just it would rattle it off. It was you remember though, if you get distracted, like Jurassic Park playing in Theater 12 at 11,
Right.
1:30. Like if you missed it though, it's
You
like
had to
crap,
replay it.
we gotta wait.
Yes.
It's gonna come all the way around again.
I remember that. Yeah, it would play like it's kind of like school closing. You remember school closings?
Yeah.
It would scroll
yeah.
across the TV, and
Yep,
if you missed
yep.
your county, you had to wait
You
for
had
it
to
to go
wait.
all over.
Yep,
Same
you had to
thing,
wait.
same concept.
Yeah, totally.
And back then, I think movies were only like $5 or $6 max.
Yeah,
when you had to
were.
call in like that.
They were. Well, and you didn't have all the choices either. Now you've got to be like, well, do we want to sit in like a traditional theater where there's people generally next to us, or do we want to sit at a dining table with easy chairs, or do we want to sit in like a stadium seating? Before that was just you're going to sit in row A or row C, and that's it. The chairs are all the same. Everyone's got a cup holder. That's it. Now you've got like a dozen different options for what type of screen, what type of audio experience. Would you like the integrated subwoofer that you bring in and sit next to your seat, or would you prefer just a standard audio experience today? It's a $5 upcharge, by the way.
Oh, yes. No. And now it's like you use the app on your phone and yeah, you get to pick your exact seats. You can even have dining. I mean, it's stupid. There's like lounge chairs. Excuse me. My last premiere was actually back when you had to call it in on Movie Phone. I went and saw a premiere of a movie, and I remember the screen. About 20 minutes into it, the screen burnt. Like the projectors back then were still like on the reels. And the film burnt. And they actually were handed out vouchers for free movies. Nowadays, if something like that would happen, you just get credit on your app.
Do you remember when they'd have the little circles in the top right corner of the screen, and if you were in the know, you knew that was telling the projector that it was time to switch to the next reel or get the next reel ready? Do you remember that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was top left or top right on the screen, and you'd start seeing like a series of circles, and then that meant that they had to change the reel out because the movie was long enough that took enough of the actual film that you had to have multiple reels for a full-length movie. And I remember you'd see it up there, and then that's normally where they'd have like some kind of the dialogue would end and they'd have kind of a segue into the next scene, and that's normally when a reel would change. Like it almost makes you wonder if they produced the movies or directed the movies, so it was like, all right, we're at about 40 minutes, they're going to have to change the reel around now, so we should end this dialogue, and then we'll just drift off and stare into the stars for a moment. That way the operator change the reels out.
I've never had to experience that.
I don't know if someone who's watching and maybe they know what I'm talking about. If not,
probably spare me him, Daniel. He's like 95 years old. I'm exaggerating a lot.
Right. Yeah,
he did just say his first movie was Animal House for $275.
Does he remember the little rings or the little circles, the indicator to change the reel? Or I might be losing it. It's quite possible. It's possible.
It's possible, man.
I knew
it is possible.
I did. Just didn't know it was going to happen here.
While we are discussing screens, though, I did find this. This is pretty funny. It says for a flat screen to set it down and be careful so you don't break the TV. Yes. And the other one says,
yeah, I remember. Yeah, 36 inches I think used to be a big TV.
Yes. Daniel did say he does remember that.
Good. All right. So I got a few more years out in the wild. That's good.
He also said I need a raise. I agree.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
You remember the box screens that were like 65 inches?
Yeah.
When I was 18, I had one of those. I moved probably 3 times with that thing. Once was on a 3rd floor apartment, and I swear it was the heaviest fucking thing in the world.
I'm sure. What was it, a couple hundred pounds?
Oh, easily. But the way they're shaped, like this backside, the backsides of the TV, so they were never like even. Like the weight was not evenly distributed ever.
No. Yeah. The weight was all on the screen.
Yes.
That screen was where all the way. The back of the TV weighed nothing. It was probably negative. I bet if you put it on a scale, it would actually read a negative amount.
And that has outlived. I mean, I don't have it anymore, but it definitely outlived any flat screen that I've had now. I had that thing for years.
Yeah.
The light, like the light panels that would come across the screen would slowly started going away. I still fucking use that thing, and it had like great studio surround sound in it.
That's amazing.
Now a flat screen gets loud, but it's not the same kind of boom that a box TV had.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine who had the projector. It had to have been from probably the late 70s, and it was like a red. It was a red, green, and blue light projector, and it actually had the 3 lights that you would see, and it was, you'd have to have some kind of a screen on the wall. But this thing was, I don't know. I think the way they had it set up was 80 inches. I don't think it was HD. I'm not sure I don't know if LD was a thing, if it was low definition, but that's probably pretty accurate. But yeah, this thing was huge. You could probably, I don't know, as big as the wall is, you could. But yeah, I remember, and it was a monstrosity. Like the modern day projectors are small, it's the size of a cereal box. This thing was like as big as a suitcase that you'd take for a week or two. It was massive. Technology's come a long way.
Oh yeah, man, and very very quickly. Like it's advanced. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
fast. Because I mean, a
it's
flat screen
incredible.
wasn't even a thing when I was, playing Nintendo.
If you showed someone in the mid '90s a modern smartphone, they would probably have an aneurysm. I think that they would be committed. That would be it.
You would
It's
not be able to
witchcraft.
convince me that you were only from 20 years or 10 years in the future. You know,
Yeah,
there's no way. I would think you were so far ahead of time that I
it's
definitely
insane.
wouldn't think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wireless charging. Can you imagine wireless charging if you'd seen that in the early '90s or even early 2000s?
Even
Magic.
like the portable landlines were
Yeah.
battery powered. They weren't, that was it. You either plugged in the main part and charged the batteries in them, but that was all you had.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's
Daniel
nuts.
said he has an 85-inch.
I saw that 85-inch TV.
Yeah.
I've got a 46-inch plasma. I bought it off my brother for a couple $100. I think that thing's, I don't know, a dozen years old now. That's indestructible too. Plasma technology.
Well, and now it's like, the box TVs. Yeah, they would let you know that it was time to upgrade when they started losing their light color and the screens.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh hey, you need to update your TV. And then you sit there and let it do its upload.
Yeah. It's incredible. The TV is connected to the internet.
Yes,
I bet
everything is. You can run I have a washer and dryer that you can run off your phone too. It's like you don't even have to be home anymore, and you can run your whole damn house. You just don't have something to get your laundry to the washer.
I can adjust my AC from anywhere that I've got an internet connection. I could be 5 hours away. Be like, well, it's about 82 in the house right now. I want it to be 70 when I get home. I should probably turn that on now. That's crazy. It's just
if only you could take care of your animals while you're away. That'd be even better.
It's coming. It's coming. I guarantee.
It's got to.
That's next.
You're gonna get those Roomba vacuums. They're gonna have like an additional add-on feature to where it takes care of your animal while you're gone.
Until they become self-aware, and then you'll come home and be like, Where did we have pets? I thought we had a couple of dogs and a cat.
You watch your Ring doorbell and you just see this like
really
little
clean.
vacuum leading them outside.
The house is immaculate. The robot vacuum says it hasn't run in 3 days, but I have not seen Spot anywhere.
Do you have the Ring
Even
doorbell?
the dog food is gone. Even the dog, yeah.
Do you have a Ring doorbell?
I do not. I have the Nest. But the Nest can't watch me. It can just cause me to be uncomfortable. Oh, now I'm alone. It's just me. Oh, no. Well, everybody, sorry about that. It should be just a moment.
Yes.
I'm sure Just Ginger will be right back.
I haven't done that in a good year, but I have done it before.
Yeah, it's all good. I was doing some ventriloquism. It didn't work well because my mouth was still moving. So maybe I don't understand. I might not understand ventriloquy. I don't know.
What's this say? We have Roomba vacuum. It's programmed. Yeah, everything's programmed now.
My brother has one of those, the Roombas. Absolutely loves it. The thing is every time I see the Roomba vacuum, the only thing that I can think of, the only image in my head is the Facebook meme with that little, I don't even remember what breed of dog it was, but it was sitting on the back of the Roomba and it literally had the shit scared out of it all the way around the living room. You've seen that one, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. That's all I can think about anytime I see a Roomba is that poor little dog. Empty. Dog is empty.
Oh, that's good. Do you remember having? I never had a tape cassette. I had like a boombox that did tape cassette, but I never actually had a Walkman tape cassette.
Oh, I did. Oh yeah. I had a Walkman. Yep. Yeah, I had a Walkman.
My first tape cassette was Ace of Base.
I just saw Daniel's comment: cat on the Roomba in a shark costume riding it. I think I've seen that one too.
That's That one's pretty trendy.
Anyways, you're saying Ace of Base?
Yes, that was my very first tape cassette.
Man, I think my very first cassette was like a Christian rock band, because growing up, my family was super conservative, so I listened to like the Newsboys and DC Talk, and that was, and I had all the cassette
both
tapes.
of those bands.
Yep. Oh yeah.
My first CD was New Kids
Some
on the Block.
hardcore worship music.
I had New Kids on the Block. That was one of my CDs. Then I think Rascal Flatts became, and it was a hand-me-down from my mom or something like that.
I for cassette tapes, I think more of mine were recorded off of the radio. Did you ever?
Yes,
you remember doing that, right?
Mm-hmm. I had a boombox. I did it with my boombox.
Oh yeah. The best part is you call in the request too, like, because if you have that particular song that you just have to have, you'd call in the request, and then you'd sit there for hours and just wait. And then
record all
hear the DJ like, by request, we have Ace of Base coming up next, and you got to get yourself all ready. And okay, here comes the commercial, and then I got the tape in, I got the right side, I've got it queued up because I don't want to record over Milli Vanilli, and you hit record, and then if you're lucky, you get it, and if not, then you wait and you call back, and 5 hours later you try again.
Spirit Medium Daniel, it sure did. I've never actually seen Brokeback Mountain, to be honest.
You know what? I sadly have not either. I haven't either.
It might be really good. I don't know. I haven't had interest in watching it because it doesn't really intrigue me, but it could be really good. I have no idea.
You know what? I sadly have not watched a whole lot of movies lately. I'm a documentary fiend. I love a good, well-produced documentary. You know,
what have you been watching lately?
Anything conspiracy theories, you know.
I love conspiracy theories.
Anything that talks about some high level secret government conspiracy. I get into that.
And while you're watching it, do you go through and make sure you're like blocking app permissions on your phone?
Yeah, of course.
Make sure that it can't hear what you're watching, so it doesn't.
Yeah, I keep getting random phone calls from like 000. I don't think it's related though.
I had one of these. I also had a pager. Yeah, before, only for a couple months, but I did have a pager.
I was never that cool. I never had a pager.
I thought I was the coolest kid in school.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. That's amazing.
And I remember it was just like this. It's funny because it shows you can't really see too well on them, but there's codes that you would get, and that was like your text messages, like for love or where you at, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then even after those were popular, then kids were using their school calculators to do boobs and hello and get creative. Yep. All that was really popular, believe it or not, before emojis.
Oh, yes. No, I definitely remember that. School, man, there's all kinds of stuff in school, low tech, to find entertainment. I mean, you remember the Elmer's glue? Get Elmer's glue all over your hands so you can peel the skin. I mean, that beats pretty much, you know, Minecraft, I'd think, at least.
Oh, definitely. This is funny because even this was really cool to me. Did you have a Game Boy? Did you have a Game Boy that had the attachment for the camera?
No, I did not. The first personal electronic device that I had, other than, you know, the Walkman, was a Hewlett Packard Jornada, which was
never heard of it.
Okay, so it was like the predecessor to the smartphone, pretty much, but it was like I can't remember what they even called it, but it was basically like a digital notepad. So you had an abbreviated version of like Microsoft on there, and it was touchscreen, so you could use your little pen to write on it. But the tech was, I mean, at least storage wise, it was terrible. It had, I kid you not, it had a 32 megabyte card, and it was it was an inch and a half, 2 inches tall, quarter-inch thick. You could hold like 8 songs on it. So I had this little, Palm Pilot almost kind of device, and I had this massive chunk of plastic. It's probably as big as the Game Boy game, and I could fit 8 songs on it, and it had a calculator, and that was the coolest shit I ever had seen at that point in time. Man, I rocked that thing. I remember I had that all the way until I was like 15 or 16. I created a little box to hold it in my car, and I had the cassette tape to 3.5mm plug so I could have my 8 songs with me at all times. Oh, it was amazing, right? Man. Yeah, but I never had the pager. I never was that cool.
I thought I was the coolest kid. Was one of those.
I bet. I definitely remember though writing naughty things on the calculator. That was
and I would leave them in the classrooms. Mm-hmm. Me and a couple of my buddies. That's what we would, and we thought it was so funny. We'd snicker about it afterwards. We'd leave like hell or boobs, just something stupid like that, and just leave it in there. And then we would walk out like high-fiving each other and snickering about it.
We're so cool, man. Nobody else would have thought of that, man. We're so creative.
What are you doing after school? We should come up with some more of these.
Oh, that's awesome. What are we going to do tomorrow? I don't know. Spitballs, probably.
We used to have to like meet up, when we want to fight each other just because we're cool. Yeah. We'd have to do it in the bathrooms and plan it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember the 4 o'clock behind the school.
What's happening?
I'm probably going to puss out again, but I'm going to threaten you this time.
This next meme, it says, kids today have no idea what this is. For those of you that are listening to the audio version, this is it is a roadmap.
Yeah,
we're not talking Google Maps, but this is a legit roadmap.
No, this is a physical piece of paper. It's probably between 20 by 30 inches or maybe 24 by 36 inches.
Yes, this isn't like Google Maps where you just stare at a phone. This is you can't drive. If you're driving and looking at this thing, you have no idea where you're going. There's no way.
No, that's just you're gonna have an accident. You're gonna wreck. There's no way. The more dangerous part was trying to fold the damn thing back up.
Oh yeah,
and that's it's advanced level origami to put that thing back into that little tiny rectangular shape that it started as. You got to do a lot of cranes before you can advance to the level of Western Hemisphere.
Right. My grandpa was my father figure growing up, and he was a truck driver, and he had the World Atlas, and it was literally it was like a subscription that he got every couple months, an updated thing, and it was huge. It was like this tall, this wide, and it was a book of all the states and every route you could possibly go.
Yep.
And that's how you navigated.
Yeah. I was actually talking to someone the other day that said that they had an instance where they had the battery die on their cell phone. They were in an unknown location, and they had like a 5 or 7 year old, road atlas in the trunk of the car, and they popped it open and were able to get themselves home with a dead smartphone. And it's just amazing because now that's like the kind of story you're going to tell your grandkids. You'd be like, you think you're frustrated now because the battery died. Let me tell you about this time I had to navigate myself home using a paper map. That's right. Paper. It didn't talk to you? No. It didn't tell me where to turn. It didn't tell me that it was rerouting. I had to figure that shit out by myself.
Streets are color coded. You had to figure out what code was what. Geez, it didn't even tell me when there was a traffic stop up ahead. I mean, come on.
No speed limits listed on there at all. It was nuts.
That's another thing while we're talking about it. The phrase "where are you" never was a thing. It was never a thing before cell phones because we had to call a place to get a hold of you.
Yeah. Where are you? I don't know. What number did you dial? That's where I am, obviously.
That's exactly where I'm at. Hold on, let me check my address book.
Yeah. That's nuts.
It was for me, it was be home by the time all the streetlights were on. Because there wasn't really a way to get a hold of me.
No, no. And then I remember when cell phones did, become an option, because I had my first cell phone at 16. I got in trouble on a couple of occasions because I would ignore a phone call. Like, you go from that point where you're pretty much off the leash, you can do whatever you want. And then as soon as that technology is in place, now it's become vital. Like, it's amazing how quickly we shift from having a novel piece of technology to suddenly we can't live without it. And if you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of stuff nowadays that we would be lost because we've become so reliant on that piece of tech.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
There's so many things. I mean, like you said about somebody's phone dying. I've seen people freak out because their phone's dying. Even at work. Hey, can I plug in my phone while I'm shopping?
Yeah.
It's happened many times, actually. It's more often than you'd think. Or they'd be sitting to plug with their stuff plugged in.
Yeah, you'd think there's like vital functions. Like, somebody, please plug my phone in, otherwise I'm probably gonna die. It's like,
I won't be able to check my heart rate. What am I gonna do?
That's right. I don't even know if I still have blood with pressure on it.
Can I use your phone, man?
Oh, geez. Yeah. No, they have it with the smartwatches, but for a while there, they had phones that, like, you could put your finger over a little infrared sensor and it would read your, like, blood oxygen levels and stuff like that.
Mine has it.
It's nuts.
Mine
yours does?
has that feature.
I think a lot of the Samsungs do.
Yeah, it's mine. I have the S9. It's an older model, but it does it. Yeah, it does it.
Yeah, but it reads your vitals.
Yes, but how accurate do you think that is?
That's a good question.
I mean, know. I haven't tested how accurate it is. Like, I haven't sat there 10 minutes and just kept reading it back to back.
Probably not enough to make medical decisions, but enough for personal entertainment.
I think my favorite thing on that topic is that people have become more hypochondriacs, because if they have a symptom, they Google it, and just whatever pops up. Oh man, they say I have this, I must have it. Who's there?
Yeah.
Why? What are you talking about? You have a cough. That doesn't mean you're dying. You're not dying.
It's a toss up. WebMD says it could be fatal or it could be gas.
Google's top resources. Google's top resources. The doctor. Who's that? I don't know. He just said it. You should probably go get it checked out. Then you're probably right.
It is crazy though. You look up any symptom, and it's gonna it's like it goes to the worst possible scenario every single time.
And then it's a rabbit hole because it knows what you searched. So then it's more.
Yeah. Then you decide,
tired?
Okay,
are you feeling tired?
Get my mind off this. So I'm going to start scrolling through Facebook or, whatever app you decide to use for entertainment to distract yourself. And behold, it's popping up. And it's like, do you have abdominal pain? Well, yeah, I do. Has your abdominal pain been lasting for the last 45 minutes? Yeah, it is. Have you searched for help and found nothing? Yeah, I have. And then at the bottom, click here. I'm clicking.
While you're waiting to do a live chat with the doc, will you fill out this quick survey?
Would you like a map to the doctor's office?
Here's the nearest hospitals to your vicinity.
Yeah. Yeah, technology's great. It's awesome.
And as we get to wrapping up, man, I mean, ultimately, do you think it's a technology and the fact that we have access to all this information on our phones, do you think it is making us more dumb than it is actually us learning things?
I think it's really nice of you to ask it like that's actually a question.
Well, I mean, people use it for people do use it for beneficial reasons only. I mean, it's.
I do though. I really maybe not more dumb, but definitely more lazy. More lazy. But then you have to ask yourself, is it more efficient then? Since I have a device that records all the numbers, can I use that memory for something else? Because I have a device that tells me how to get somewhere, does that mean I don't have to worry and spend the time to plot out my route and make sure that, the traffic is going to be acceptable for the time that I've got, make sure road is, I mean, there's two schools of thought. You can look at it as it allows us to focus on other things because more of those mundane tasks are kind of completed for us technologically. or is it making us lazy because it does all the work that we would normally have to put the effort into doing? And I think it all depends on what we do with the time that we free up because of the technology that makes, you know, all those other activities so much more convenient and seamless and faster.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
pros and cons.
yeah. So it's almost like the answer to the question depends on the individual. You know, how do you utilize the technology? Do you use it as a crutch and a shortcut so that you can be less productive, or do you use it so that you're more efficient and thereby are able to complete more, you know, with less energy, thereby obviously being more efficient? So it comes down to the person. So I guess that's up to you and me and everybody else.
And Daniel did say keeping us on our phones is what's keeping us lazy. I mean, it is true. I think the biggest thing for me is there's so much now that's like almost where the money is. You know, I don't know how many times I've driven and I find these like high school kids on the street doing weird dances that they're posting on TikTok. And as long as they're getting views, they're getting paid. So now, you know, you don't have to go anywhere to make money. You just have to do stuff and get exposure and make money.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting too. I was reading an article not long ago that was talking about how one of the real concerns that we're going to have as we continue to advance as, you know, as a civilization is what people are going to end up doing with their time. Because with the way that automation is growing, with the way that AI is growing, ultimately we're going to reach a point where we've set up a structure, you know, for production and you know, care, even medical care. You know, a lot of that's becoming automated with a lot of those systems and services. But eventually we're going to come to a point where it's like, well, what are people going to do with their time? And you have to at least have some type of a constructive activity. So maybe that's it. Maybe the end game is that we all end up being content creators, utilizing each other's artisticness or ideas and you know, opinions, and the rest of the necessity is produced by an automatic, you know, a facility or you know, there's all that functionality is done automated, and then all we get to do on our own is just kind of, you know, be creative and do dances in the middle of the street for other people to watch at 2 a.m. in between cat videos and ordering pizza. So.
Right. Multiple tabs open at the same time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shit, I went to McDonald's the other day to get my kid a Happy Meal. And it was an automated order. There was nobody on the other end. It was just a machine.
Yeah, we interviewed someone the other day that was talking about how the drive-through, if your order is simple, if it's like I want a number one with a Coke, there's not even a human element at all. It's completely automatic. If you have a more complex order, then a person will jump in and kind of take over where the machine is not able to you know, figure out what you're asking for. But if it's simple, there's no human element involved whatsoever. So
before you know it, you're just going to be able to drive up. It's going to scan your face and know what you want.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, man, hey, I appreciate you finally coming on.
Yeah.
You know, this has been a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I have. It's been interesting to kind of, I don't know, borderline entertainment. There's a certain aspect of it that feels nice and casual.
Yes.
But hopefully the people that are watching are entertained by our dialogue back and forth. You know, that's what it's all about in the end.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, it's, at least one of them definitely waited all the way through the
I saw that. Daniel, thank you very much for watching.
And then the rest of them kind of popping in and out. This is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, all live at the same time.
Awesome. Well, it's been an enjoyable experience. I really appreciate you inviting me on, and you know, hopefully I get a repeat invite.
If
course, not,
man.
We'll just avoid eye contact at work. You know.
Yeah, I'm actually very conflicted about how I feel about you now.
Yeah. No, it's understandable. I can appreciate that. That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, thanks again, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that's popped on. And until next time, you all have a wonderful evening.